Have you seen this image of a possible tail on Mercury? It's wild. I love it when we get unexpected views of the solar system. This is one of my favorite images of the year so far. It was taken by NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory on February 28th, and it shows Mercury with what appears to be an extremely long tail stretching out from the sun side of the planet. You can see the sun shining down on Mercury here, and it almost looks like there's this huge plume or wisp of something coming off of Mercury and extending into space. Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere like Earth does, so what in the world is going on here? There are some things that we know for sure. First of all, this is not the first time we've seen this. We've been watching Mercury since the early days of spaceflight. And in 1974, we saw this tail for the first time during Mariner 10's first flyby of Mercury. There have been a few times that we have seen these wisps of material coming off of Mercury and extending far out into space. But it's not super common, so what we really don't know is why this happens. I'm going to tell you what we think is probably happening here, but I want to emphasize that this is just a guess. It's literally just a wild idea that scientists have put forward. It hasn't been proven at all, so what do we know about Mercury? We know it has a solid core, that's a fact. We also know that the crust of Mercury is cracked. We can see this from orbit. There are all these lines and fractures on the surface of Mercury that indicate the crust is broken into pieces. And we think that underneath that crust, there's a layer of liquid metal, kind of like the Earth's outer core. And then there's a solid inner core. So here's the thought. Mercury is very hot on the side facing the sun. It gets up to about 430 degrees Celsius on the sun side of Mercury. That's about 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if there was a crack in the crust, maybe a very thin layer of material become vaporized and escape through that crack. If there's a layer of liquid metal underneath the crust, maybe that liquid metal boils and some of it makes it into the crust and then escapes into space. We know that Mercury has a magnetic field. It's not as strong as Earth's magnetic field, but it does have a magnetic field. So perhaps some of the material that escapes Mercury's atmosphere gets caught up in the magnetic field and forms this tail. Or maybe the material itself is part of the magnetic field. I don't know exactly how that would work, but I know that magnetic fields can do some pretty crazy stuff. This is just speculation. This is not proven, but it's a good idea, and it's the best idea we have right now to explain what's going on here. All of the stuff I just said also explains why we do and see this happen all the time. Mercury's atmosphere, if it exists, is only really hot and crazy on the side facing the sun. The side facing away from the sun is extremely cold. It gets down to about negative 180 degrees Celsius. So whenever Mercury rotates away from the sun, this whole thing stops happening. Also, Mercury rotates pretty quickly. It completes one rotation every 59 days. So the side facing the sun only gets to be hot for about 59 days at a time before Mercury rotates away and the cold side faces the sun. The last piece of evidence that supports this idea is that we have seen similar things happen on other planets. For example, we've seen sodium vapor plumes escaping through the cracks of Jupiter's moon Io. So this isn't unique to Mercury. It seems to be something that happens on other planets as well. If you like optimistic science and tech stories, stay tuned for more. I love you. Goodbye.